Okay, you 80/20 apostles, we are going to talk about one of the best strategies in business, which is the 80/20. But today we're going to talk about what happens when the 80/20 is applied wrong and it costs you money and customers, and how you can avoid this because so many businesses talk a good game about 80/20 but do not understand how to put this in place and will then screw up and ruin the 80/20 for that company forever because of one terrible decision. So I'm Todd Hagopian. I'm the Stagnation Assassin, CEO of the Stagnation Assassins. This is the Stagnation Assassin Show, and we'll be talking about the 80/20 errors that people make and how to avoid them. So I'm going to start with a story. Last night, I was completely out of gas. Now I happened to make it home and do some stuff at home and end up going back out with a different car to go and get a gas can so that I could fill up the car that had to get home at a specific time. So I couldn't do it at that time. So I go to the gas station and I walk in and there are no gas cans. The gas station does not have any portable gas cans for sale. And I was shocked. And I went to the lady and I said, "Hey, I need gas. And where are your portable gas cans?" And she looked at me like I was an alien with three heads and said, "We don't sell those here." And I couldn't believe it, and I started to think, and of course, I'm not super angry because I had gas. I was actually just coming to get a gas can with, with my money and then bring it home and use it for the other car. And, but as I'm driving to the next gas station, which was a pain in the ass because it was late at this point, I'm thinking to myself, "Okay, let's think about this through an 80/20 lens," right? They probably they probably put 5 or 6 of these $5, $10 things in inventory, and nobody ever buys them. Just as an emergency, people end up coming in and every now and then buy it. And so they probably decided that it was a bad, inventory decision. And I tried to get my head around why you would make this decision because you're a gas station. People come there when they're low on gas or it's an emergency, and you've just told somebody that you don't have it. Um, and so I could start to get my head around where an 80/20 would tell you, the gas station does not need to have these. They probably make $15 a year on it, $50, 100, $500, who cares? $10,000, who cares? They don't make very much money on these gas cans. But then I started thinking about the customer. And had I ran out of gas 2 miles before that station and walked to that station and got in there and realized that they didn't have any gas can, I would have then had to I live in a small town, right? I would have then had to walk 2 more miles to the next gas station and and finally buy these, and I would get to the next gas station, and they have, like, 6 or 7 of them, right? And they're kind of up on top of some random rack, where you couldn't put any other stuff, so it's not like it's taking up valuable inventory. And they charge like 30 or 40 bucks for this little, thing that's obviously 2 or $3 to make. So they're making pretty good money on this thing. And by the way, I wasn't upset to pay that. I needed it. It's a stupid tax, right? You either need one right then or you don't. Even if I was buying one for the lawnmower, which is why I decided to do this whole thing to begin with, is I could go straight home last night, hit the time crunch that I was in, and then go out and just fill up the car and then have the gas for the other stuff that I need it for anyway, in my new home. So, so anyway, the bottom line is an 80/20 matrix could have put a gas can in a B product scenario. Now that B product is something where you're not going to sell a lot of it. You're not going to make a lot of money on it. Um, it's kind of a pain in the ass to keep on the shelf, and this and that. But it also causes you no pain. You don't. It's not like you're gonna put a new substation in there where you can sell subs or a new coffee stand. Like it's going to be in a place that doesn't affect your business that much. But where 80/20 goes wrong a lot of times is the logic filter. And so people say, well, we don't make much money on that. But the logic filter tells you that you're a gas station. Okay. There's a certain number of people that rely on you to give them gas when they're low. And then there's a subset of those people that rely on you to give them gas when they're empty. And to have no solution for somebody who, say, walked there for 2 miles or took a $30 Uber, you to get to you, to have no solution other than, sorry, go to the competitor and buy it from them, is frankly gonna lose you a customer for life. So, and I wasn't super mad, but the idea was is and I do this, right? I look at businesses, and if they make bad decisions, I don't go there anymore. So, I mean, that gas station probably lost 1,500 gallons of gas from me in the next year, probably lost 10 cups of coffee a week from me in the last year, and that's only one gas station I go to. And I mean, it adds up. Like, I added it up in my head, it's like $7,000 of revenue that that gas station just lost. Not to mention, if I had walked there, I'd probably be telling everybody, or doing a podcast, and a bunch of people saw it. I'm not going to say their name because I'm not that petty and it's not that important. The idea is you have no idea how much money you just lost, and you should have been able to figure it out with a logic filter. You're a gas station. You need to provide emergency gas, and not having a solution for somebody who walked or Ubered or something to your station when they're in an emergency is unacceptable. That would have been the logic filter that goes through it. Now you can put it on there and charge $100. Who cares? If somebody needs it, they're going to buy it. Um, Totally your call. Or you can put it on as something that you don't make much money on, and there's other ways to make money around it. You could either use orthodoxy smashing, even use orthodoxy smashing, to try and figure out different ways that you could make money on this. For example, you could charge a service $50 a year, $100 a year, where you will deliver a 2-gallon gas can to somebody full if they call you within 10, 15 miles, whatever. And you could end up having 1,000 people pay for that service, and you might only have to deliver 2 cans of gas. Okay, now all of a sudden you made a ton of money on it. You could add a 2-gallon gas delivery to Uber or something like that. I know there's probably rules. You got to get around those. So you make it so that people know that you're a place that will have this available if you need it, and Uber will deliver it to you. You could come up with your own delivery service. You could, I mean, there's so many different ways that you could handle this and turn it into a positive and innovative experience. I like the subscription model. I think that's really interesting. I'd pay somebody $50 if I knew that anytime throughout the year that my wife was running out of gas or I'm running out of gas, I could have something delivered. Even if it costs money at the delivery, that'd be fine. So anyway, this is where the 80/20 goes wrong, though. You cannot manage it off of a spreadsheet. There are very many in the 80/20. There's A customers and B customers. There's A products and B products. So frankly, I'm an A customer at the gas station. I eat at the gas station. I drink coffee at the gas station. I, use gas at the gas station. I buy chargers at the gas station. I do everything at the gas station because I'm there all the time. And so when you choose to intentionally piss off an 80 customer just because there's a 20 product that you don't want to sell, you need to really think that through. Your options are to outsource things, to charge more, or to kill them. And this person chose to kill them, and they're going to lose thousands and thousands of dollars of revenue. This one person, they're going to lose thousands and thousands of revenue on. If I were to tell a bunch of other people, or if other people had the same experience, then this one $25 inventory decision, because literally you need about $25 on the shelf to make all these customers happy, has lost tens of thousands of dollars in revenue, and potentially terrible word of mouth. And not to mention, you drove them right to the competitor who has 6 of them sitting there. And so now people know. So Anyway, that's the downfall of the 80/20. You have to use a personal logic filter after you do the Excel spreadsheet, and it's extraordinarily important. And that logic filter can be any number of things. It can be, you know, do we need this random small item to make big customers happy? It could be also customization. So let's say there's something that's customized that only a couple of people buy, but if that customization is at the end of the production line and it doesn't cause you much pain and you can build 90% of the way there before the customization and leave it as a stock unit prior to pulling the trigger on the customization, then that is not necessarily a whole new SKU. And you need to treat that differently than something that has to be designed from scratch as a new SKU. So there's a lot of intricacies of the 80/20 that you really have to think through when you're talking about how custom is it? How different is that SKU than other SKUs? You can make the argument, the opposite argument, that if it's not that different, you can move them over to the base SKU. I've made that argument hundreds of times. But if the customization comes at the very end of the line, it is a different animal than if it's something that you have to design and build from scratch. So this is the logic filter that a lot of companies miss, and it's why a lot of people hate the 80/20 because they feel like it does not cover this, and it's really important that you do. So anyway, that's the episode for today. For more information, go to toddhagopian.com. Have hundreds of articles up there. Stagnationassassins.com is coming soon. There will be hundreds more articles there. And we will talk a lot about the 80/20 and other fantastic business strategies, but also talk about the downside so that you know how to avoid some of these mistakes that many, many customers and businesses make. All right. Thank you.